8 reasons why you are unable to fall in love in this video. We will talk about the reasons that prevent you from becoming happy, building happy relationships, and experiencing those wonderful feelings. Before we move on to discussing this video, please click the subscribe button and like it so that more people can see it. So, the video will start with such a profound phrase. Love comes precisely when we are ready to let it into our lives. When you are ready to welcome love, everything in our lives comes down to our state. And a woman's state is the magnet for a man that attracts a certain man into your life. That is, if you are ready, if you are open to love and know how to love and are willing to give love, and if you know how to love yourself, then your love is somewhere nearby. But if you are not ready, if you do not know how, then you will need to work on this or figure out certain reasons. Why is there no loved one by your side? The first reason is that, in fact, you do not want to change anything in your life. You want a wizard in a blue helicopter to suddenly come and make it so that you have a happy family, meaning that a man would come and make you happy, taking all the responsibility upon himself, and you don't want to change anything. Let him adjust, let him come as this perfect person. But the question is, if he is so perfect, why should he adjust? The entire balance is in partnership. If you understand that you are ready to change at certain moments, ready to grow, ready to give, and ready to accept love, then something will start to happen in your life and other people will begin to appear. But as soon as you are in this position of just taking, well, no one wants to come to such a state of a woman. Everything in this world comes down to the state of a woman. If a woman is in love with herself, in harmony, and she is ready to share this love, ready to share this happiness, she is 100%. Not alone, because there will definitely be someone by her side, a man who will only emphasize her state. If you realize that you are in a position of only taking, you need to continue working on yourself. Distrust of people. If you have the mindset of trust but verify in your head, you will not build happy relationships. Because any happy relationship is always built on trust. If you have had situations in your life that prevent you from trusting people, that prevent you from trusting men, so your internal distrust will be transmitted to the man, and an acquaintance with a certain man will read your distrust. To him, you will seem somewhat unclear and complicated. It will be easier for him to build a relationship with another woman while you haven't worked through this within yourself, and your relationship is doomed to fail. Moving on. Experience of negative relationships. That is, if you have experienced betrayals, infidelities, or difficult relationships, and possibly some abusive relationships. If you do not work through all of this within yourself, relationships are likely to repeat. Similar men will come into your life based on your state. If you realize that you cannot cope with certain personal internal beliefs, when you understand that there was one man, then another, and the scenario repeated itself, then most likely this. Negative experiences have settled in you as a script. And all of this needs to be brought to the surface, lived through and understood where it all comes from. You need to replace certain beliefs in order for a different kind of man to appear in your life and for the relationship to reach a completely different level. Furthermore, low self-esteem is an issue. To love someone, you need to love yourself. If you have low self-esteem, you cannot give love, and the man who can make you feel better will not come into your life. If you realize that you have low self-esteem, learn to work on yourself. The first thing you need to do is accept yourself. You must learn to provide care and support to yourself first and foremost. Do not force yourself. For example, if you need to do something, do not make yourself do it. Try to treat yourself with love. You may not want to do something, even around the house. Try not to force or coerce yourself, but rather persuade yourself to say to yourself, now I will quickly do this and that, and then I will reward myself with this and that for my efforts. When you are in any situation, treat yourself with love, which means moving forward with self-love without forcing it or putting pressure on yourself. Then you will learn to love yourself more, to appreciate and cherish yourself, and the right man will come into your life reflecting the emotions you project and the emotions you know how to show. Moving on. You feel comfortable being alone, and you are actually afraid of losing this comfort zone. You see that your friends and acquaintances all have families, and you sometimes say out loud that you should have one too, but it all comes down to our unconscious. Everything that happens in our lives is the work of our unconscious. That is why parental scenarios are so important. That is why it is so important what we experienced and saw in childhood. And that is why if you tell yourself in your head that you would like a relationship, but deep down at the level of the unconscious, you understand that you do not want to lose this comfort zone, do not want to change anything, do not want to adapt to anyone, and do not want to restructure your life in any way. You do not want any complications. Men will not approach you as if they are avoiding you. They already know on an unconscious level that this woman is not ready for a relationship. Moving on. The negative experiences of parents, meaning if you have seen complicated relationships between your parents, again, the unconscious comes into play. You may have witnessed difficult experiences, possibly infidelity from your father, perhaps arguments and scandals, or even physical violence. Looking at all this, you now fear relationships. You do not want the same kind of relationship. And relationships evoke fear in you because relationships equal what your mom and dad had. Therefore, it is necessary to work on this here. Unconscious programs of parental scenarios are at play. But it is easier to consult a psychologist who can help bring these unconscious programs to light. And it will help you to replace them with more positive ones. Doing this on your own is very difficult. Otherwise, relationships will either resemble parental scenarios or there will be no relationships at all. And yes, it is necessary to work on this. With your fears, if you have seen parental scenarios and you are afraid of repeating the same in your relationships, it means you have many fears that need to be worked on. Emotional. Burnout occurs in many people when we have a high pace of life. Work, home, various projects, tasks, and a lot of everything. And here, of course, there is a lack of relationships. When you are already emotionally burned out, you absolutely do not want to do anything at all. What needs to be done here? Here, it is necessary to try to slow down and think about what you really want right now. Either continue in this frantic rhythm, or perhaps stop and think about your life. What would you like to do next? Perhaps try to relieve yourself. It means engaging in activities that bring pleasure, because when we do many things from a state of enjoyment and desire, emotional burnout does not occur. Emotional burnout often happens due to a kind of violence against oneself when we feel we have to do things that do not bring pleasure, and we expend a lot of strength and energy, leading to a desire to just lie down and do nothing. Here, it is necessary to reflect on what is happening in your life right now and what you truly want. Perhaps you have always wanted to engage in something interesting for yourself. Try to find a hobby and do something new. Try to reduce the number of tasks that do not bring you pleasure. At the moment you start to understand what you truly want and begin to act from the depth of your desires, your life can change dramatically. A person may enter your life precisely by coming into your new state. Thus, the prohibition of feelings and the frequent checks on this can often occur, all thanks to parents, either cold or strict, who would say things like, "Don't cry, calm down, don't be scared, you're a wimp, get up, shake it off, stop whining," and so on. At that moment, the girl was growing up and understanding that expressing her feelings was wrong. She began to forbid herself from showing her emotions, thinking that it was bad. The girl feels guilty. If I cry or scream, it means I'm bad. This emotional shutdown prevents her from loving in the future because our subconscious continues to work, hiding all emotions. Emotions cannot be shown. Showing emotions is bad. Now, there is a prohibition on any emotions. So, what needs to be done here is to try to learn to feel again and to bring out the emotions that our subconscious has hidden deep down. For example, keep a daily journal. You are sitting at work, something happens, and ask yourself the question, what am I feeling right now? It is very important to name your emotions. You might be feeling anger right now, you might be feeling self-pity, you might be experiencing some resentment, or you might be having some positive emotions. It is very important. Keep an emotion. Journal, name that emotion, and be aware of what you are currently experiencing. This way you can awaken within yourself what your parents have long hidden from you deep down by forbidding you to feel. Now you need to bring all these feelings to the surface. So when you feel an emotion, when you feel happiness, say, I am happy right now because of this and that. You are now. If you feel like crying, think about what caused your tears. Is it hurt, anger, self-pity, or disappointment? Name your emotions. Only then can you help yourself in this situation. That's all from me in this video. I was Alice Vardomska. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell icon, and goodbye, everyone.